Hurts takes the snap. He's back. He's going to run. He's in! Touchdown! Jalen Hurts! The Eagles are just devouring the Giants. And it is A.J. Brown again! Another touchdown!
Hey, welcome back to the Linc Lineup. This is going to be episode 13. So it's going to be a little different episode today because we didn't get the chance to do a recap of the Eagles-Bucs game from last Monday. So we're going to do a review show and a preview show. It might last a little longer. It might not. But I'm Chase, and with me today is Josh. Bryce is doing something with a wedding. I can't remember what it was. So he can't make it, but that's okay. He should be back on Sunday when we do the recap for this upcoming game. So let's talk about it. The Eagles played the Bucs last Monday. Me and Bryce were actually at that game. Super hot, super humid. Is borderline miserable at times because of the humidity and the heat combined. I think if you were watching the game on TV, you saw at the bottom it was 91 degrees outside, but it felt like 101. And this was right as the sun was going down. So the sun going down actually didn't help out a lot at all. So the Eagles won 25-11. It was, I would say it was a step in the right direction. I'm sure you'll hear that amongst other pods when it comes to the Eagles offense. But I do think this was a step in the right direction for the passing, I guess, part of the offense. Jalen made some mistakes. He threw 2 picks. Yeah, it was the jump ball, you want to call it, to Devontae, and then whatever that was to DeAndre Swift. But yeah, DeAndre Swift did his thing. A.J. Brown had 131 yards, 9 catches. Jalen threw a beautiful pass to what's his name? Zacchaeus.
OZ.
Yeah, OZ. Yeah, a beautiful pass. And he had a good game too. He had 2 catches for what was it? 58 yards. Yeah. That's great. That's a good start. Because I know I was listening to Rube talk earlier this week, especially on my ride back to South Carolina. He said that Quez hadn't had like a 53-plus yard game since sometime last year. So there's going this week. There's talks of Olamide Zacchaeus being the wide receiver 3 going forward, and we'll have an opportunity to make that statement that he should be there because I believe Quez is going to be out this week as well. So Josh, tell me your overall feelings about the offense, coming from this game.
So I think it felt during the game like a step in the right direction for the passing game. Though, at the end, you look at Jalen 23 for 37. Ideally the completion percentage would be a bit higher, but it was raining. But I'm thoroughly impressed by DeAndre Swift so far. For the second game in a row, he just really wowed me. I had high expectations for him coming into the season, but I did not think that he was going to do this well. He looks like the best back we've had since LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah. We haven't had anybody, I think. I guess you can make a case about like maybe Jay Ajayi if you want to. And Miles Sanders was up there, but he wasn't in the same ballpark as Shady. But yeah, DeAndre Swift has, I believe everybody between me, you, and Bryce, we all had high hopes for DeAndre Swift, but to see what he's done these past 2 games this is so fun to watch. It is very fun to watch, and I know the theme around Eagles Twitter and like the beat writers is why did Kenneth Gainwell get those carries in that first game? Nobody knows. But DeAndre Swift has been amazing. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, no, it's it feels like he's really taking advantage of just like how good our offensive line really is. Like Miles Sanders, he put up numbers, especially last year, but it always felt like the right back could get more out of the opportunities. And I mean, DeAndre Swift's really showing that. I mean, you look at him compared to Kenneth Gainwell last game, 16 carries compared to 14 carries, but you know, Swift had 130 yards to Gainwell's 43. So it's really just, um, like I said, he's just taking advantage of the opportunities that our offensive line's giving him, and it's fun to watch, man. I love watching him run. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I do think so. Obviously, there's going to be people that want to take it to the extreme and say, just don't give Kenneth Gainwell any touches, and you give DeAndre Swift all of them. DeAndre Swift is not, in my opinion, built to be like a bell cow like running back. So I do think, like in the fourth quarter, you saw nothing but Kenneth Gainwell carries, and that's what you need because we need somebody to take a little bit of load off of DeAndre Swift because he's getting hit out there. I mean, he's not the biggest back in the world. So I think Kenneth Gainwell is like a perfect pairing with him. And I know he's not as explosive as him or even Boston Scott, but I mean he's solid. He's as solid as they come. He doesn't get these big explosive plays that you'll see out of the inner Swift, but he'll get you a couple yards here and there. And at the end of the game, that's what you need. Is you need somebody that can get you 2-3 yards every play. That way you can kind of grind the game out and keep the clock running. Plus, he doesn't really. I don't think he's turned over the ball a lot since we've had him. I can't think of a time where he had fumbled the ball. So obviously the coaching staff trusts him. Do you know of a time if he fumbled the ball? You're muted, by the way.
No, he hasn't fumbled in a couple of years. He has two fumbles had two fumbles his rookie year. But that's about it. So yeah, he's solid.
Not bad. I think the only thing that I would give him credit for as far as turnovers go, in the past 2 years is last year on Monday Night Football when we played the Vikings. I believe Jalen threw a screen pass to him and tipped off his hands and turned into being an interception. So like he's solid. He's very solid. Like I said, nothing spectacular, but he'll get the job done. He'll take some carries off the DeAndre Swift, off his hands. And then also Boston Scott wasn't playing this game. He'll get a couple carries here and there as well. But overall, offense, they did good. And we played the Bill Belichick tree with Todd Bowles, Brian Flores, and then of course Bill Belichick himself. They were throwing some exotic defenses at Jalen. I believe Jalen got blitzed, if I'm not mistaken. It was a crazy amount. It was almost like 51% of the time, 52% of the time.
Mm.
And so Dallas Goedert said he got interviewed this week, and he said that going forward, like they expect defenses to play like a normal defense, not like a drop 8 in coverage and let Jalen try to find an open guy. So, going forward, I expect to see the offense pick up some more steam, and it's not about how you play right now; it's about how you play towards the end of the year. As long as you get better and you don't regress, that's a good sign. And they've improved week by week. Now, we can talk about the defense real quick. Reed Blankenship is a guy that I enjoy watching. He seems to be very solid. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He did miss one tackle in the game that I can remember. But the pick he had was great. Just kind of read the play, and he made it. He made the pick. He'll come from the safety spot, and he'll make an open foot tackle on the running back coming out of the backfield. It's nice. He's very consistent. He's one of the best safeties, like the best prospect safeties we've had in a long time that like is homegrown. Because we had CJ GJ last year, we got him from the Saints, but I can't think of another safety that we had like we had him first, and he's kind of grew with us in a long time. I think the last one's probably Michael Lewis in the early 2000s. So
I was going to say I can think of a lot of bad ones that we've had from the beginning, but yeah,
there have been some bad ones. There have been some very bad ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I can think of plenty of bad ones, but like you said, I mean, I can't remember the last time we had a homegrown safety prospect like him. I mean, he's legit. I mean, I wasn't concerned coming into the season, but there was some doubts. I mean, he didn't. He came on late last season. He was, he played solid, but
I think he had 4 starts coming into the season.
yeah, something like that. Because I know he started when Gardner Johnson got hurt last year, I believe.
The Packers. Yep.
Yeah, I think that was his first game back, or first game starting. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely surpassed my expectations. I like watching him. He's fun to watch. He's very solid. I know he had the one missed tackle, like you said, but yeah, I think he's a keeper. I mean, I like him.
Yeah. He's awesome to watch. And speaking of young people that are fun to watch, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are. It is so fun watching them play. I was in the stands and I got so excited. I tapped Bryce and be like, "Hey, look, Jalen Carter's in," or "Hey, look, both of them are in."
Yeah.
It was just this must watch TV. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's just must watch TV for an Eagles fan. Those two guys are, they're doing their thing. Jalen Carter had half a sack, and then Fletch had half a sack as well. Jordan Davis did his thing. He had 3 tackles. Definitely, clogged up some holes. And then obviously on that safety, I believe Jalen got double teamed. Jordan Davis got double teamed, and they basically just opened up, let Nicholas Morrow just basically just run straight through to get the safety. So those two guys are so fun to watch. They're so good, and the future is so bright with these guys. And they're only going to get better from here. Jordan Davis didn't have a lot of playing time last year. Started to come around like week 7 or so. Then he got hurt. But to see him, go in the off season, lose a little weight, and just kind of take football seriously was a step in the right direction. And then it is showing on the field. All the hard work he's done. It's just fun to watch. And then, even Nolan Smith got a quarterback hit. He hit Baker. He hit Baker hard.
Oh yeah, he crushed him.
He did. And it's nice to see him get involved as well. Because he, in my opinion, he's better than Derek Barnett is, and Derek Barnett gets way too much playing time. In fact, I'm looking at the box score here. I don't see Derek Barnett anywhere on this box score. I know he was out there. So, but yeah, the only concern I have is obviously Hassan Reddick. Still hasn't registered. I don't think a stat this year so far. But what do you think about the defense as a whole?
Yeah, I think you put it well. I didn't realize that Hassan Reddick. I think you're right. He still hasn't registered a stat this year, which is weird. I mean, I've seen him out there, but I can't say enough about Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. It just got me excited when I see them. When I see them lining up, I'm just excited to see what they're going to do that play. I can't that strip sack that Jalen Carter had. I don't know if where he punched it out.
Oh, not the strip sack,
not a
but
strip sack, or
the
not
comeback.
sack,
Basically the
forced
run up the
fumble,
field and do the peanut punch. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That was the most fired up I got the whole game. I was watching that. I mean, he's just a monster. He's I think his name's Baby Rhino, and I like it. I mean, he looks borderline unstoppable out there. If you don't double team him, he's going to cause issues. And Jordan Davis, I mean, I loved him coming out of Georgia, but I know he had the questions about if he was going to be a 3-down player because of, I think, partly play style, but all I had to do with his stamina and just ability to stay on the field. And so, like you said, I mean, it's great to see that he's really taking football more seriously now and lost some weight. Definitely, just working on his game. And like you said, the future is so bright for those two. It's fun to watch. I mean, for a team that builds through the trenches and appreciates good defensive line play so much, it's amazing to have two guys like that.
Absolutely.
I got a question for you though.
Sure.
Right now, do you think that I do? Do you think that Jalen Carter is our best defensive lineman?
I think it's as far as talent goes, absolutely. I think, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I know he's already like drawing some comparisons to this guy, but like he's like Aaron Donald. He can play all three downs. He's great at stuffing the run, great in pass rush. Uh, and like what was awesome about that play you mentioned, the fumble, is I can't remember who fumbled it. I cannot remember if it was Rashad White or if it was somebody else.
I think it was Rashad White. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was Rashad White.
Okay.
So like Rashad White was like 7-8 yards down the field, and
Yeah.
so Jalen Carter was already rushing the quarterback, and then turned around, ran 8 yards down the field, and punched the hell of that ball. Awesome. This is awesome. Very exciting. Maybe it's because I've kind of grown up a little bit, kind of, paid more attention to football and like the trenches. I know Bryce gets excited about it, but whenever I was younger, the skill guys were like the coolest picks in the draft and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I remember I would get upset because we would draft like a lineman. I was excited about Jalen Carter, but obviously you want the flash. But man, just like you right now when I watch the game, I pay attention to Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Like they're just so fun to watch. They're so young. They are so young. It's crazy what they could become, especially if they can continue to work on the craft and just get better every day. There's no telling what the ceiling could be with those two. But yeah, one last thing I want to touch up on before we kind of move on to the preview is there's actually two things. First thing I want to talk about is Nicholas Morrow is great. He's not, maybe I'm over exaggerating it, but like he hasn't done anything where I was like, man, there he is making a bad play. You can't point your finger at him on like a bad play. At least not making it where it's like glaringly obvious that it's him. He's been solid. He's been very solid. He's flying over the field. He had 2 tackles this past game. Both of them were for loss. One with the safety, and I cannot tell you the other one, but that's okay. Just know that it was a tackle for a loss. Zach Cunningham has also been solid. He struggled in pass coverage, but it seems like this week he set up his game a little bit. That's something you want to see. But like, you got to remember who these guys are. And I said it, I believe, 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week. I can't remember. But remember, Nicholas Morrow got cut. He was on the practice squad, and Zach Cunningham wasn't on a team until like the second week of preseason. So they're exceeding expectations by far. Even though Zach Cunningham is struggling in pass coverage, he's an awesome like run defender, and he is always flying to the ball. He had 4 tackles this past game, so he's there. He's there. But the last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll let you have your final words before we move on, is Britton Covey was awesome. He was very awesome to watch. I think I shit on him last episode, maybe the episode before that, because of the fumble. But he's very fun to watch. He is. You watch him in person, you can see like the quickness. And he's not like super fast, but he's quick, and he makes these great cuts. There were some times where I questioned his his decision. For example, he's running backwards, and he tried to return the ball that was going to definitely go out of the end zone. He made that to his 20. But the point being is he had a 52-yard punt return. That's great. Then that was exciting. He's really stepped it up, especially coming from his first couple of games as an Eagle. So I'm very excited to see him continue to grow as well. Any last words before we move on to the preview?
Not much. Just to touch on the linebackers a bit. I mean, like you said, both Morrow and Cunningham have both been very solid. They haven't made a lot of mistakes, and especially Morrow, there's not really a lot where you can point to like, oh, that was him messing up. And that's really all we need from them. I mean, we have so many great players around them on the defense, on the line, at corner. that really we just need them to be solid. Like we don't need them to be superstars. We don't need them to play outside of their capabilities. We just need them to just do the not the bare minimum, but
Do their
just kind
job.
of do their job, minimize mistakes, and just be solid. And they're doing that so far. So
And shout out to Sean Desai. He's been awesome so far. Definitely so far less frustrating than Jonathan Gannon was. He seems like he will be aggressive when he needs to be, and he will be conservative when he has to be as well. So yeah, going forward, the previous this will be the preview show now. So let's talk injuries first, to kind of set the tone of the game. As of now, Eagles have 2 players out for Sunday's game, one being Sidney Brown, the other being Quez Watkins. And Justin Evans, I believe, was a full participant today, but he's listed as questionable. I expect him to play. So yeah, Sidney Brown played a lot of nickel cornerback last game. They swapped him and Bradbury out quite a bit because they wanted Josh Jobe to also play the outside. So kind of sad because Sidney Brown definitely got some playing time. I think he hurt himself on that Mike Evans pass defense, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, those 2 are out. And then as far as the Commanders go, I think they have all their starters available. They do. The only person that's out is Chris Rodriguez. I believe that guy came from Kentucky. So, the line right now is set, I believe, when I checked this morning, was Eagles -9, which I believe it still is. So, our offense versus their defense. Yeah, so they obviously have 2 great defensive tackles with Jonathan Allen and Montez Sweat. They got Chase Young as well, who I think is a bust. So their line's okay. I think they are more well equipped for pass rushing rather than stopping the run. I think our offensive line will do pretty good against them. When it comes to passing the ball, I think we will have times where we have pressure. Then Jalen Hurts will have a defender right in his face. But I do think we'll run all over his team. I don't know if you know this, but what's the name? Emmanuel Forbes, is that the cornerback name? The rookie?
that's oh yeah.
Yeah. I think AJ Brown outweighs him by 70 pounds. So if you see AJ and Emmanuel together, let him out muscle him. Because 70 pounds is a lot of weight to give up. Going to just in any situation, no matter what it is, fights, football, basketball, whatever you can think of, it's a lot of weight. So I'm gonna do this. Josh, give me your player to watch on offense this week.
It's funny you mentioned Emmanuel Forbes because I think the player to watch on offense this week, coming off of I'd say a quiet game against the Buccaneers, is Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought up Emmanuel Forbes, for those who don't know, last time Emmanuel Forbes lined up against Devontae Smith had 203 yards and 4 touchdowns. So
I
don't think he'll do that this game, but it'd be cool.
It'd be good for my fantasy team.
Yeah, definitely help fantasy.
Yeah. Devontae Smith will always be a player to watch. Definitely. I was going to pick him, but for the sake of being different here, I want to pick Olamide Zaccheaus. I believe that this is going to be his game where, he could definitely pencil himself in as the starting slot receiver going forward, especially if he has a good game this week. From what I've seen in all the games he's played so far, I feel like he's been solid, even though he wasn't getting targets in I believe the second game and the first game. He's been solid. He's decent against the he's a decent run blocker. And then when he gets the ball, he was a running back at some point, so he does have that a little bit of yard after catch. So he's an interesting player to watch, and he's who I would keep an eye on. He won't go off for like 18 catches, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he could have 3 catches for 70 yards and maybe a touchdown or something along those lines. But yeah, the Washington defense, I don't know what they rank right now defensively. I do know that they let Denver put up quite a few points on them early. They struggled to beat them, and then the Cardinals had the lead on them early too. So I
Yeah,
don't know
they
if
did.
I don't know if you're looking up the ranks right now, but whenever you do, let me know, and I'll pass the mic to you. But yeah, going forward, I can see the Eagles. This is going to be the game where they kind of show signs of what we had last year. The passing game could take off, but obviously our identity right now is running the ball down teams' throats until they can stop it, and most teams haven't been able to stop it yet. But got anything yet?
So this one source says they're 12th in defense.
What?
Um,
Interesting. So, looking at what I have from ESPN, is they average 219 yards passing per game, and then 128 yards rushing per game. If you want to compare it, they have 128 yards rushing allowed. We have 48.3. So a little, or about 80 yards difference. And then they allow 219 yards passing. We allow 275. So, we'll see what happens. But like I said, I think this is the game where the passing offense kind of steps up and kind of takes over and gets in the groove. It was said on BGN, because I was listening to that as well. The Eagles haven't had a Sunday to Sunday like schedule yet. They played Sunday, Thursday, and Monday, and now it's Monday to Sunday. So starting this week, we finally have like a decent schedule, and we can finally kind of get a routine. I feel like that might have something to do with it. It won't be the answer to all the problems, but it might have something to do with us like kind of not being in rhythm. But yeah, got any bold predictions going into this Sunday?
I'll make a bold prediction. I think it's going to be our best passing game against Washington since that Monday night game with Vic back in the day.
That was a beautiful game. That was a great game.
That was a great game. Yeah, I think we had 35 points like 10 seconds into the second quarter.
First play wasn't it like a play action, and then it was
Deshaun Jackson. Yeah. I think more realistically, I think it has a good chance to be our best passing game of the season so far, just by the nature of playing against a non-Belichickian defense. They're not going to let us run all over them. They're going to commit more people to the run, I think. So there's just going to be more space for our playmakers to make plays. I'm really interested to see what Zacchaeus does with this chance to really secure that slot receiver spot, or that third receiver spot, from Quez Watkins. I think that he has the talent to do it. And I mean, Quez has had every opportunity in the world over the past, like dating back to the beginning of last season. And he hasn't really like grabbed it. So I think, if Ozzie has a great game, or, depending on how long Watkins is out, a couple games, he could definitely solidify that spot in the depth chart, I think. So I'm really curious to see how he does.
Yeah. Two things. One, I'm glad you mentioned they're not going to let the Eagles run all over them, because at some point this year, teams are going to try to stop running, especially if it keeps on happening and we keep on running all over teams. They're going to commit to the run. It's going to open up the passing game. So at some point, you're going to see the passing offense take off. It might be this game, especially because now I feel like things will go to normal just because of like who we're playing now. I know Jack Del Rio he's a good defensive coordinator, but like he's not like super aggressive, and he's not going to throw like exotic defenses just for the sake of confusing Jalen Hurts. And then two, I could see the Eagles trading Quez for a slot corner at some point, especially if OZ does, play well, and he's like solid. So, be on the lookout for that. Especially, like I said, if he plays well this game, takes over that slot wide receiver spot, I can definitely picture like a I guess I don't want to call him like a struggling wide receiver because he's not struggling. He is struggling. Screw it. A struggling wide receiver for maybe like a struggling slot cornerback, like a 1-for-1 type deal, and then hopefully when that trade happens, it pays off. On our end.
An interesting wrinkle to that is Quez Watkins is actually a free agent after this season. So whatever team does trade for him will probably be a rental. And it also makes me curious, if there is interest in him, that might actually give us incentive to hold on to him and try to get a comp pick.
Right.
Let him leave that way. So unless we were able to get, like a 4th rounder for him or something, or a comparable player, we might just hold on to him.
Yeah, and the thing about Quez is he has like I won't say elite traits because he doesn't have like anything like super elite besides speed, but like it's like something that teams look at, and he has elite speed. It just seems like sometimes he gets a little lazy with his route running, and I think last year you got to see some of that, especially whenever it's against the Bears and I believe maybe the Saints, not sure, or the Cowboys. And then definitely in the Super Bowl when he could have laid out and got the ball. But we won't talk about that because I don't want to cry today. So, but yeah, this is going to be a Dallas got revenge game. They took him out last year. And then obviously the Eagles might still be, they remember who beat them last year and who, knocked them down. So I don't expect them to take this team lightly. So, but yeah. Any final words before we move on to defense?
Not really. I think we summed it up well.
Yeah. I think DeAndre Swift has a good game this game as well. I don't think he's going to go off for 130 or 170. I think he'll hover around the 80, 90 yard range. I do think he'll get more involved in the passing game. Screens and maybe little Texas routes. But be on the lookout for that. And then obviously Boston Scott's gonna be back, so it'll be interesting to see if Rashad Penny is active or not. But
yeah, I could definitely see DeAndre Swift. Like you said, probably not. He won't get 130 yards on the ground, but I could see him getting close to that when you combine like total yards.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think at some point this season, the passing game is going to give him quite a few yards, and we'll see what happens. Defense versus offense, man. I believe the Washington's offensive line has allowed 19 sacks this year. I believe 9 of them were allowed last week against the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. And guess what? We have an elite defensive line. So you know what that means? Should take advantage of their offensive line. Sam Howell is, I don't know what to think of Sam Howell, to be honest with you. He shows signs of like being like a competent quarterback, and then he has games where he throws, what was it, 4 interceptions, something like that? 3 interceptions? 2?
I think it was, I want to say 3.
Yeah.
The thing with Sam Howell, he's so young. He's like younger than Jalen Carter. He's 22, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got a lot of growing to do. It's just a matter of how patient they're going to be with him. I think, if they put the time in, he could develop to be a solid quarterback. But like I said, I mean, he's 22. He's not ready right now.
I mean, he has weapons. Like this Commanders offense has weapons. They have Brian Robinson. They have Terry McLaurin. They have Jahan Dotson. I feel like I'm missing another wide receiver.
I think that's true. I mean, they still have Jamison Crowder.
That guy's been
Miami Brown.
Maybe they don't have a third wide receiver.
I don't think they have a third wide receiver.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Logan Thomas, the tight end. Maybe?
Yeah. No. Logan Thomas is ass. But I mean, he has 2 solid receivers. He has Brian Robinson in the backfield. He also has Antonio Gibson, who hasn't had a great year so far, but he's a solid back. So he has weapons. He doesn't have an offensive line. He's going to make mistakes. He's young. especially whenever pressure gets in his face. Younger quarterbacks tend to get happy feet and try to force the issue, and it can lead to big plays, but more often than not, it's going to lead to a mistake. So, who on this Eagles defense are you looking at this matchup?
Aside from Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, because I feel like that's just too easy of an answer. I hope Nolan Smith gets some more snaps this year or this game. I'd love to see some more out of him. We're just so deep; it's hard to get him on the field.
Well, we can get Lefty if we get rid of Derek Barnett.
We can only hope.
Yep.
But until that happens, I'd like to see more out of him. I'd like just to see him, period. Not that he hasn't performed when he's on the field. He just, like I said, it's hard to get him out there. If we're gonna keep moving, Bradbury into the slot, I'd like to see how Josh Jobe does against, either of the, Curtis Samuel.
Oh yeah,
the third receiver. So any of the receivers, McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel. Because I have hope for him long term, and Slay and Bradbury are getting up there. So at some point we do have to develop some more outside corners. So I wouldn't mind seeing how he does against this matchup.
Glad you brought that up because my eyes want to be on Darius Slay going up against Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and anybody else really. I feel like Darius Slay could have a big game, especially going up against younger quarterback. Quarterbacks find favorites. Jahan Dotson's not his favorite. I picked him up fantasy. Just hadn't thrown his way a lot this year. But, they have favorite targets and they might force the issue whenever things aren't going well. And I'm assuming they won't be going well in the run game. So he's going to have to make a play. And so it might be a jump ball situation with him and, Terry McLaurin. And we see if Darius Slay can make it happen. I know he got beat for a touchdown against Mike Evans this past Monday. Wasn't too bad, but we were also playing like super soft. But we paid Darius Slay a lot of money for these big time matchups, and I hope he comes through. I love what Darius Slay has done this year so far, and it'll be fun to watch to see how he does. But at the end of the day, the biggest matchup to look at is their offensive line versus our defensive line, and there could be some breakout games this game. What's his name? Wiley is a tackle. I think he averaged, or he had like the most sacks allowed last year. And of course, in Super Bowl, he didn't allow one sack because that grass was ass. But Hassan Reddick's probably going to line up against him, and it's going to be a nice little Hassan Reddick revenge game where he shows that, hey, I can beat you, and I'm going to get around you. Be nice to see him kind of get a sack or 2 or 3 or 4. But yeah, I feel like we match up very well against this team. I can see why the spread is 9. I can see it being a double-digit win for the Eagles. So, but yeah, we'll go to the predictions now, I guess, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Score predictions. I wish I asked Bryce what his score prediction was so I could put it on here, but I forgot. But yeah, so I obviously have the Eagles winning. It's at home. Thank God it's a 1 o'clock game because I'm so tired of the primetime games. I like the 4 o'clock games. What's your opinion on the times? What give me a power ranking. So so we'll do this. So 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, Sunday night, Monday night, and then Thursday night. Give me your power rankings.
So I'm a bit biased because normally if the Eagles play at 1 o'clock, it's not on my local channels.
All right.
So for the longest time, for years, I had to find a stream online or something, or sometimes I couldn't watch the game, especially growing up. But overall, it's tough to say. I will say I think I mean, I like the primetime games, but I get tired, man. I'm old. So I'm going to probably say Monday night is last.
Monday night's rough. Monday night
Monday
is
night's
rough.
rough. Monday night last. Sunday night. I mean, it's tough to say second to last, but I prefer an afternoon game. So I'd probably say like from worst to best, Monday night, Sunday night, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Thursday night's just somewhere in between.
Thursday night's somewhere between Monday and Sunday.
I gotcha. If I had to rank them, so I have the best schedule in the world when it comes to work. I get Sundays and Mondays off, so the Sunday night thing doesn't affect me as much. So Sundays I can drink all I want and not worry about it the next day. So my rankings go like this: Monday night football is dead last. My Monday is a Tuesday, and so having to wake up early with staying up late is rough. So Monday night's last. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Because I love Thursday night football. I love the broadcast. If you haven't watched watch the game using Prime Vision, it's basically all 22 camera. You can see everything you want to see. I love it. But Al Michaels is rough right now. For anybody who's watched a Thursday night game recently, he's rough. So I'm gonna have to put Thursday night at 4. Man. So I'll put 1 o'clock at 3. Sunday night at 2 because, like I said, I'm off Monday, so it doesn't affect me. I like night games, and then that 4 o'clock window is perfect because you have the games that you can watch red zone from 1 to 4, 4:15, 4:25, whenever your team starts, and then so you don't miss a lot because there's only like 3-4 games at the 4 o'clock window. So you don't miss a lot. You just watch red zone, see everything you need to see, and then 4 o'clock comes around, you're locked in on your team. I understand your thing about 1 o'clock games kind of suck because I believe you have the Commanders games locally for you. I'll have the Falcons or the Panthers
right
locally where I'm at. So that's the worst part about it is because I'm in two teams like area. So like if the Panthers play at 4. Normally, for anybody else, that's an opening for your favorite team to play. They're good. Not in this case, because if the Panthers play at 4, guess what? The Falcons are probably playing at 1. So sucks. But yeah, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock Sunday night, 1 o'clock. No, screw that. Monday night, 1 o'clock, Thursday night. I love Thursday night. Sunday night, and the 4:25, 4:15, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. But I am excited for a 1 o'clock game. A Sunday game's great because we haven't had one since the beginning of the year. But yeah, let's get to the predictions and we can wrap this show up and get up on out of here. I had the Eagles winning, obviously. The score, I give it probably predicted this multiple times so far this year, but I'm gonna do it again anyway. 34-17. That's my prediction. I think it's a nice, comfortable win, and I think we as Eagles fans feel good this game, and I look forward to talking about it Sunday afternoon with you guys. So, what is your score prediction?
My score prediction is going to be it'll be close. It'll be 31-13.
31-13. That'd be a great
31-13.
game. That would be a great game.
Yeah. I think I think 31-13. They'll get the one touchdown, the Reds or the Commanders, and then other than that, they'll only get a couple field goals. And then I could see us getting more than 31. I just want to be like conservative. I don't want to predict like a 30-point blowout, but I do think this is a game that could get ugly early, and we could run up the score. But I'll say 31.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Is this is one of those games that you like? So the Commanders got their ass whooped, right? I don't see this Commanders team as a team that will bounce back and can't bounce back. I think they got beat by the Bills, and they see the Eagles coming, they're coming to the Eagles, so they see the Eagles on the schedule, and they're like, man, this is not the game to bounce back. They, the game after, sure, but I don't think that this team is equipped to bounce back, especially not with Sam Howell at quarterback. I think Jacoby Brissett is probably the better quarterback on that roster. And I do see him starting at some point, especially if things get ugly. But it could be a blowout. It could be. That's what I'm gonna say. I hope for it too, because it's gonna be a fun time Sunday when we talk about it, if that's the case. But any last words before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, just really looking forward to this game a lot. It's like you said, it's good to have a Sunday game again. I think we only have, I think, 2 or 3 1 o'clock Sunday games the whole season.
Yep, we have 3. One of
Three.
them, 2 of them against Washington, and the other one
Okay.
against the Cardinals.
Yeah, so yeah, they're not top. That slot's not top of the power rankings, but good to toss in there for change of pace once in a while. And better than a Monday night. So
Absolutely. We got with a couple more primetime games, but I think they're all Sundays.
I hope so.
Yeah, yep. I'd be happy with it. But this has been episode, I think I said 13. The Nelson Aguilar episode, if you will. Thank you for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, yada yada yada, leave us a review as always, and tell us your favorite color. And then just say we're good, so other people can listen to us and get the word out that the Linc Lineup is here. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about the hat. I like the hat. Just got the hat. It looks good.
I like that.
Thank you. Supposed to have it before I left for Tampa. Didn't have it. Kind of sad. Got the shirt though. That's all that matters. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. And follow us on all socials at the Linc Lineup. I haven't been posting anything on TikTok because I have no idea what to post, but I'm gonna come up with something soon, and hopefully it takes off. But other than that, follow Josh at the Pre2 on Twitter or X, and then follow me at Cardiac Chase. Till next time, thank you as always. Go Birds.
Go Birds.